ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. What another spectacular week in wrestling. I am Nick and Myron. We are always together every single Thursday. And where do they find us, Myron?
They find us on YouTube. The best place to find it. They find us all these other audio sources. But if you want to see the glorious faces of the two best-looking men in wrestling podcasting, right there on YouTube, where you can subscribe, and hit your notification button.
That's it, man. Every single man, you want to make sure you like that page, subscribe to the page, turn those notifications on. Don't forget you can become a member on YouTube or on Patreon at patreon.com/tappedoutpod and get the show early, get some bonus content we're pumping out. I apologize this week. We've been a little behind the eight ball as far as knocking out the content, but I got something I'm dropping tomorrow morning. I've already got a couple guys that committed to do something tomorrow, and Gary and I couldn't tangle up this week, so we're going to do starting next week. We'll get ours together, but he was on a cruise, so I let him slide. You know, stuff happens.
Cruising all over the place like it's vacation time. I'm going on a romantic trip this weekend, so I'll be gone. Unfortunately, I had a crown fall off of my tooth. I fell down, so I fell down. That was separate. I crushed some furniture. I had this USB plug that was going to control my lights. It made my computer crash. Thankfully, I didn't stick the USB into my teeth and make myself crash. But yeah, it's been a weird week over here. Boy.
Yeah. Lots of craziness stuff, man. But look, it is audio podcast season. Make sure you're supporting the show, dude. Libsyn.com, promo code is tapped. Get you a couple months for free. Start your own show. Then you could just be like us. Not on the video side with Libsyn, but you can do you actually can. It's a little more complicated, but I always tell everybody, just do your audio podcast. Libsyn.com, promo code tapped. And you too can talk about things such as we're heading down the road to the King of the Ring, the Queen of the Ring tournaments. But this past week on Smackdown, a new developing wrinkle happened for that PLE.
Is that going to be the main event?
It's got to be, right? Well, hold on. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I would think it would have to be.
I think it should be the main event because you got two titles. Are they both on the line? Is it champ versus champ? Is the winner going to get two belts?
They haven't clarified that yet. I've heard rumor it's going to be. That it is going to be title versus title. Time will tell if that pans out. As a friend of the show leaked that out to me, I was like, yeah, dude, this is going to be championship versus championship from what he's hearing. And I'm like, I guess first question would be why? Like, why? Like, champion versus champion always puts you in a predicament. Because either way, it kind of gives you the obvious, like, okay, something's wacky's got to happen to where we don't have a winner, or you're going to have a champion with both belts, right?
Ooh, that's a lot of gold. I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, this is wacky. This is fun. This is high drama in wrestling. This is your massive internet star with your super wrestling hero, Cody Rhodes. How crazy is this? Are we going to get Prime everywhere, Nick? Prime everywhere. I've been drinking so much Prime lately. I feel so hydrated. And how many times are they gonna knock over the hydration station? That happens how many times on a program now? I love it.
Hey, it's advertising. You see it every time they go over.
Have you got a favorite
flavor? Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I'm not a big flavored drink guy.
I'm a big fan of the orange and the purple because the purple has the most plastic in it.
Yeah, it must be because if I'm going to hydrate, I'm usually just water. I mean, I don't like I don't drink Gatorades. I don't drink Powerades. None of that.
No branch chain amino acids?
It's water. Just give me water, dude.
Nobody's going to give you an endorsement contract for water, Nick.
Publix water. Publix brand water. I drink a lot of that. Publix, if you're down, you could throw some advertising in here. They do great buy one, get one.
How do we get so many leaks? Are we getting hit by icebergs all the time? Because we are constantly getting all these leaks, Nick. What a network you've built.
Listen, this one just I can't even tell the source of how I got this one. because this is not, by the way, this was really not a wrestling leak. I'll leave it at that. So, okay, let's go with hypotheticals. If it's not title for title, that's the easiest path of resistance, right? Because then you could just have Cody beat Logan 1, 2, 3, let Logan have a great match, and they move on. Now let's go the more fun route. It is title for title, and come up with some theories. Long-term thing. Here's the thing. Logan's got a baby coming up down the road. So what's he going to do? You know, I have heard the rumor is he is going to become even more attraction like once the baby's here. Like he's going to be like every 3 months or so.
Yeah, he shouldn't be carrying a belt. Okay. I think he's a part-timer, and I hate to use that term part-timer for WWE talent, but I think he's probably a part-timer. I don't think he needs to carry a belt for a long period of time. Let's get the belt off of him. I don't know how you get the belt back off Cody, though. Or do you merge the belts? It's just too much questions, too many questions.
I say you're going to do because you're not taking that title. Look, you're not taking Cody's title off of him and putting it on Logan at this juncture.
No,
it's not happening. So I think, again, it's a big preface. If this becomes title versus title, I also believe. Look, Hunter's been going through this process of changing these titles over.
Yeah.
This is a great opportunity. This is my long-term theory that I have. Beat Logan. Cody beats Logan Paul. Takes the U.S. Championship. Kind of stores it away for a minute. He's got, because then what does Cody do? There's your opportunity for Cody to debut a new belt.
Oh, I know what it is.
And
Go ahead
then
and keep talking.
They down the road are like, hey, Cody's going to relinquish that U.S. title. They'll have a tournament for it or something to that effect. And he gets to debut a new U.S. title as well. Does he go a little more old school or something like that?
Hunter's more belt marked than people on the front row at an indie show. Okay.
Really?
I love that guy. But it's going to be the prime title. It's your secondary title on Smackdown is going to be the prime title.
No, it'll be the U.S. title. I just think they redo the belt.
No, they're going to put the U.S. title on hold, and it's going to be replaced by the prime title. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, it is. This is my prediction. It's going to be a sponsored title of some kind, where the guy who holds it has some kind of endorsement. Think about it. Wouldn't that make a lot of sense as an environment right now?
No, because the problem is the second that endorsement ends, you got to make a new title.
Well, they got a long-term contract with Prime, and they can always bring the U.S. title back when they need it.
I think he's just if Logan's going away with his baby, Cody's it's a great way to try to get rid of these two titles that they currently have in existence. That's the long-term theory. Look,
Logan could just take his title and go home, Nick.
He could. I mean, no, I agree. I just think if Cody or if Logan, if Triple H's ultimate vision is to have wrestling champions that wrestle more often, I just can't see him leaving it on a guy that. Listen, I'll go out and tell you, the suggestion was supposedly from Triple H. Like, spend more time with your family and be special. Don't be on TV so much. So I don't think he's going to leave a title on him. That was one of the. It's not like you need the money, so just go do your thing and be dad, and come in and be special. Wrestle from every couple months on the big PLEs or something like that. So, other than that, at the core of it, I think I'm going to be excited about the match. I think they'll have a great match because Logan has completely over-delivered in every match that he's had up to this point, in my opinion. Cody will do quite well, and because listen, we'll get into it a little bit more, but apparently they've announced there's some type of enhancement to the agreement that the Saudis have with the WWE, and I'm guessing they'll probably make that announcement when they're over there.
Oh, man.
There's been rumors of are they throwing enough cash at them that they're gonna get one of the big four.
I heard they want Rumble or Mania. I can't see them getting Mania. They've had the what do they call that Rumble they had?
Well, they had the world's largest, Royal Rumble, whatever the
They
great
gave
or
him a
whatever.
40-man Royal Rumble or something like
Yeah,
that. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
some big deal. It was great. They brought back a bunch of people who hadn't wrestled in 100 years. Gave them some pops. It was a lot of fun. Um, I'd like to see more stuff because they toss money at them for that stuff. They give them that massive arena. So yeah, let's see what they got. I just don't want it taken away because there's going to be a day I get to go to Mania. Okay, one day. Actually, I don't know. I might want to go to the Rumble more, but we'll see. The Rumble's really my favorite pay per view, but only for that one match or the two matches. So, but it's King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. The prep has been awesome, Nick. The quality of the matches has been awesome, but people are bitching because some of the shows they've been doing it on house shows. I need you to give me some credence on why this is happening on house shows. But there's some good reasons in my opinion. So what is your take on this?
So in Chattanooga they had a super show. LA Knight wrestled Santos Escobar, Tiffany Stratton wrestled Mia Yim, and some people, like you said, were just not real thrilled with it. And I can't imagine. Look, I understand. Here's the logic of why people were aggravated about it. If it's so special that all the matches should be on TV, okay, I understand. However, part of the knock, they're doing shows for TV that are drawing 12, 15, big numbers.
Yeah.
The live shows, they're doing 6, 7, 8. Their average is 7, right in that ballpark.
Right now,
okay,
house shows are drawing 7.
Okay. However, what if you did this type of stuff more often on a live show? Could you bump that to 8?
Chattanooga drew 4 something, but that was like all it would hold. Okay. If you looked at the card for that Chattanooga show, these two King of the Ring matches were not the biggest. They had AJ versus Cody in Chattanooga as the main event. They turned around and ran a show in Macon, Georgia. That was an amazing card. I talked to somebody who went to Macon. We talked to Frankie who went to Chattanooga. These cards are phenomenal. These shows are phenomenal. The fans are super stoked. They're getting massive crowds at these house shows that AEW is not getting on TV. That AEW show we went to in Duluth, Georgia, Nick, had a little over 2,000 people there.
I think they advertised 3. I thought it was 3, but
the numbers I saw were a little over 2. But still, the thing is, they're not pulling these people for TV, and AEW is pulling it for house shows. The ticket sales for same town, like versus the last time they visited a town this year versus the last time they went, are up 60%. Okay, it's insane. 18% up from last year in some venues. These are insane numbers. WWE could not do better. You know why, in my opinion? Triple H is focusing on customer service. Vince was focused on servicing Vince. Okay? Vince was changing storylines right before shows. Triple H has this long-term plan where he's focused on giving people something, like long-term, a story they can follow. And he's testing it on these house shows. If you've noticed it, these house shows are where they're perfecting stuff. They go to England for a pay-per-view. Before the pay-per-view, they do some house shows where they draw 16,000 people. They're getting these stories and matches perfected prior to these big shows.
But I think, to answer you, you're like, what could they do? They can do better, and I think this kind of stuff helps. Yes. Like, yeah, you may be drawing 6, 7 at a house show, but you could draw 8, 9 if the building's big. You could draw 10 if the building's big enough. The overseas trips. Look, I always play this where I'm trying to be fair. Like, I always take the all-in number out of the attendance stuff of AEW because it's an outlier. And I think, look, if you go to countries that you don't go to a lot, you kind of have to pull those things out.
Yeah.
But even leaving all of the North American crowd sizes in, it's still pretty impressive. But there's a part 2 to this. I actually was thinking about this because we love March Madness and all the tournaments and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what, man? You could make your live events, you could enhance those. You could enhance the tournament because you could actually put, like, the field was it 860? You could go to like a field of 32 for King of the Ring.
Yeah.
But then like pepper in like throughout the week at live events, some of the like the first rounds and the second rounds you could do. So I think you could even enhance it even more. So for me, I'm not complaining that they did it. I'm like, dude, if you're going to do it, lean into it and go all in and make it a field of 32 or 64, whatever.
But that means you have to, if this is in your town especially, but you have to go to these shows to see what happens. And if you can't go to these shows, you don't know what happens till later. Okay, so you're missing something if you don't go. So now you have double the incentive to go, double the incentive to pay attention to King of the Ring if you can't find out what's going to happen till later. This breeds excitement. This builds a reason to go. This is like when we were kids, Nick, and they would come to town for a wrestling show and they would advertise it. And if you didn't go down to if I couldn't go to Boutwell, I didn't know what was going to happen for a storyline blow off. And I couldn't find out till weeks later. Okay. Because that would, when it would get on television, it would be weeks later. So if I couldn't go to Boutwell, I would have to wait till weeks later till it came out on Channel 6 to find out what happened. And it's the same concept on a faster time turnaround.
Well, the problem is now there's some guy sitting in his seat on his Twitter account, like posting it as soon as it happens. But it still creates the specialty of actually seeing it live. Yes. And that's, I think that's where it's at. I think title switches are coming at some point. Like, let them happen on house shows. Because here's the thing. People are like, well, what if it messes up TV? Okay, well, what if Friday night he drops the title or at a house show or Saturday night or whatever, and then on Sunday, or whatever, he drops it back. You could do 2 title changes that look quick and it never even affects TV, but you're like, oh, we got to go to the live next time they're in town. We got to go because they might do a title change.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
money. That's more money they're making. It's more money.
Yeah. Look, it's not a live event business in the sense of what it used to be, but live events are still a component of that money tree. So, sometimes you just got to shake it up.
But you'll see things you don't see. You can't see unless you follow the TV close. You can't see unless you follow the live events. And what's crazy, did you see Carlito without a mustache? I've never seen Carlito without a mustache.
I think I have somewhere. I'm trying to remember where.
He looks like 20 years younger, Nick.
Yeah. That he does.
And he's trying to join the Judgment Day?
Well, let's go ahead and dive into it because that's the next topic we wanted to talk about.
Cool. That is cool. I don't have an apple, but if you can't see me, I'm trying to pretend like I'm doing the apple bit.
So I'm watching Raw on Monday, and I'm sitting there, and I realize something that I don't want to realize. Damian Priest has outgrown the Judgment Day.
Yep.
He looks detached is maybe the word I'm looking for. He clearly I get the storyline. I get it. He's like, hey, I don't want your help. Stay away from me. You got the Carlito in the mix now. It looks like Dom wants to be with Carlito as far as, like, hey, let's let him join. He can be one of us. I don't think Judgment Day is Judgment Day if you let Carlito in at that point. So
no.
And here's the thing: cool. If Damian Priest, let me ask you this, because what do you let's say you bust him up? What do you do? Do you spin Finn out by himself, or does he go with JD, or does there's all these moving parts, because the ultimate straw that stirs the drink is gone. Rhea Ripley's out hurt.
Well, she was the leader. She was the
leader. Yeah.
The charismatic leader, the one people paid attention to, the one that brought the whole thing together, that goth of the goths. She was the one. When Priest took over as leader, and he was, he was going to get the belt eventually. he was not a leader type. McDonough started interfering where he wasn't wanted. Him and his Funko Pop head, as they called him, because he does have a giant head. But Judgment Day will become the tag team of Finn and JD for now. Dominic, when he gets back, will stay with Carlito, and they will feud with Ray and whoever that guy was that Carlito attacked. I can't remember his name. Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee. Yeah.
There were a lot of guys in masks, so I got confused. So Carlito and Dom will form a team, and this will all split apart. When Rhea comes back, we're going to totally reassign Rhea. Now, I doubt she'll be Flowers and Sunshine because she made all her money as a goth, and that's a whole new audience for young women in wrestling. But
well, Myron, they're not going to change a single thing about her, I don't think.
No.
But the fans are going to look. They were already turning. They were already cheering her. So it's not going to matter when she comes back from an injury. Babyface pop, huge. She's going to be a babyface.
She was wrestling Nia Jax, okay. And as much as I love Nia Jax, as much as Nia Jax is my favorite, nobody likes her but me and Jeter and maybe Grandpa. And that's our secret club. I just outed the rest of the members right here on the air.
Denovius. So he loves Denovius, yeah.
I've never met Denovius, but welcome to the club, Denovius. My name is Myron. I'm a Nia Jax fan. But the whole thing is, she's marketable. Damian Priest, you're getting a personality, sir. Okay? What's the nickname they've been giving him lately? Bisexual Undertaker? Because they don't know. I mean, nobody knows what he's doing. So he's developing his personality. He's becoming a whole character. He's fighting the Judgment Day. Is he going to be a babyface? I don't know. So, but it's interesting. We're seeing character development with this faction splitting apart. Is this like people leaving the Four Horsemen neck?
No, it's not that big. I mean, let's start there. It ain't that big, but I just think when you have the deterioration of the group, I honestly think the only team that's left out of it, because I could see Finn and JD splitting off themselves. JD needs to latch on to probably the Carlito group. I mean, with Dom, but Damian Priest is going to be a star. I always tell everybody, they just re-upped him. They see a huge value in him. So much so they gave him, like, I guess he has the rights to his entrance song. Like he got control of that. So that if they're giving you to me, if WWE is giving you anything like that,
yeah,
they see something in you. By the way, he also signs with a talent agency. So we're going.
He's going to be in movies now. He's going to be like. Remember when they made Highlander movies? God, he'd be good in a Highlander movie.
No, I agree, 100%. So
what was the guy, the Kurgan? He'd be the awesome Kurgan. He'd be really good at that.
Could be, yeah.
But why we keep forgetting that Finn Balor was a champion. Okay, we keep forgetting that Finn Balor is not a mid-carder. He's main event talent.
He's the first. He was the first. Remember? So anyway, the problem is ultimately, look, it's just not. They just don't. They're not cool. And I honestly just think it boils down to Rhea not being there.
Yeah.
So they've got to do something, because I mean, look, as long as she's out, they're going to be missing a huge piece to that puzzle. And but let's talk about puzzle pieces, because we're going to get into our next topic here. Obviously, big news this week. I'm stunned we didn't talk about it sooner. Raw has essentially signed an extension, if you want to call it that, with the USA Network. How about, by the way, it wasn't even like announced. It like leaks out in like quarterly reports. Like that's how we find out that this has even happened.
And I saw it in a meme. I saw it in a meme about TV deals that they just threw money at them to keep them for what, a couple weeks, 3 weeks.
3 months. So they were leaving at the end of September. So literally at one point, October to November, December, Raw didn't have a home. Raw's going like literally. There was a friend of ours. We were having this conversation, and he's like, "Dude, I just think they go dark for 3 months." There is no Raw, or
No.
they put it. Another option was like, hey, do you put it on YouTube? And I'm like, wasn't the worst idea because the concept was that way you get used to streaming it for 3 months when it goes to Netflix. So maybe, possibly, but so the irony is they had zero. Here's the money side of it. In the quarterly reports, they literally had budgeted $0 revenue for television for Raw from October through December. And so they didn't think, like, they didn't budget to have any money incoming for that three. So that logic says they were either thinking YouTube or they were thinking dark, because they weren't accounting for any. The projections were $0 revenue for Raw for those 3 months. Well, so the one way, like, it's two ways to look at this. And what do you think? The option is, one way to look at it was, hey, they threw $25 million at it. Let's just take it and ride it out the rest of the year because it's extra money. We didn't budget on $25 million that we're getting now. The other side of the table is USA's got to be thrilled. They literally got 3 months of Raw for $25 million.
It's a deal. They're going to make more than that in advertising, I would think. It's a Monday night slot that they don't have to fill. Because imagine they would have to scrape together 3 months worth of content. Even if they got new stuff coming, they would still have to come up with 3 months worth of content. That's a contract of some kind.
Dude, they run Law and Order leads into Raw. There's just 3 more episodes of SVU back to back to back to back. That's it.
The advertising revenue of more Law and Order can't be as good as Raw. Let's be honest.
But it's not new contract money. If they have the syndication right, that's what I'm saying. Like, so
Yeah.
it's but
I'm sure they make more money. I think it's a smart deal for everyone because it was just going to be limbo anyway. Yeah. So we don't have to find a home for it, and we're going to get paid. Okay, we don't have to worry about where it's going to be for 3 months, and we're going to get paid. Beautiful idea. Beautiful idea.
So them doing the extension, and then we find out like how some of the stuff just kind of comes out like, what? Essentially, SmackDown's going to jump ship early because everybody thought October, the first week of October, they're going to go from Fox to USA. Well, they're like, no, it's jumping September 13th, like 3 weeks early. It's jumping because talks were potentially with the Fox football TV deals that it's like, hey, you may get preempted a time or two. You might be on FS1 again. Basically, just go ahead and they let them jump early to September 13th. And then my brain started like, wait, the CW doesn't get NXT until October. We're like, I had a calendar pulled up and we're like, okay, October 1st, Tuesday's October 1st. Or is it the 1st? Is it the 8th? Is it the 15th? Like, when is it jumping ship? We don't know. Let's go under the assumption. Terrible idea, I understand, in the wrestling world. But let's go under the assumption. I'm going to pull it back up because I want to have it in front of me. If it goes October 1st, that means for 3 weeks, 3 full weeks, the USA Network will have all 3 shows again. The 9th, the 10th, the 13th, the 16th, 17th, 20th, 23rd, 24th, and 27th. They'll have Raw, NXT, and SmackDown.
I am so happy my DVR is in my PC and it's all through YouTube TV. If y'all haven't tried YouTube TV, do that because it's almost as good as getting YouTube through us, watching us on YouTube. But the YouTube TV will have to track wrestling, like a smart thing to make sure it records from all the different programs, Nick. From it's flipping and flopping and going from here, from there. Holy. Because, I can't watch it all live because, I'm going all over the place all the time. So I'm catching it on DVR. We're at wrestling shows almost every Friday night or trying to go somewhere. It's going to be a lot. So it's all this changing, folks. Pay attention. Write this down. Put it down somewhere. If your DVR isn't smart, are you still using a VCR? Jesus Christ.
Listen, how crazy is this, though, Myron? What kind of advantage do they have because of what you're talking about? You're worried about the jumping around or whatever. If they had all hypothetically, if they had all just like in the first week of October, they all did their moves. Let's say they had lost Raw, they didn't do the extension. CW, gets NXT, they jump. SmackDown jumps from Fox to USA, but it's on a different night than what people are used to seeing it. It's on Fridays, it's not on Monday. All this craziness happens. But now USA has 3 full weeks to advertise the shit out of SmackDown being on USA on the other 2 shows that people are currently used to watching, and letting them know that in a couple weeks, SmackDown's the only thing we're going to have, on Friday night. So make sure you're tuning in to the USA Network on Friday nights for SmackDown. Whereas just 2 weeks ago, we didn't think they had that. It's pretty wild. Pretty cool advantage for USA.
Hell, USA is going to get $25 million to run ads for 3 months for their SmackDown change. That's pretty smart. They're buying their own advertising basically for their programming change.
It's a cool. Like I said, I'm thrilled I'm thrilled that Raw's not going away. We're going to have it on USA, kind of used to where we are. Yeah. And it'll jump right into Netflix deal.
And there's it's contract city right now. AEW is doing that big thing with Warner Brothers today. We're recording on Wednesday. They've got that thing. Warner Brothers is having that meeting, but we don't even think AEW is going to be a part of that.
They are. They confirmed they're there. They're going to be there.
So,
but here's the crazy thing. Does that mean, because I hold on, this is important, and I really think, I'm not crapping. I do think, in my heart, AEW stays on Warner Brothers Discovery products. No. I do.
Oh, they'd be
I don't know that no, I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about, I think, just Warner Brothers. It was always, to me, was Warner Brothers Discovery going to re-sign them?
Oh, I think Warner Brothers would be fools not to re-sign them because they're one of their highest rated programs.
I promised this week I was going to stay away from ratings after I watched Collision and Rampage's numbers. I'm like, Nick, we're not going to talk about it this week.
Okay.
No. That's not you. That's me going.
No, I agree 100%.
I could go to negative town real quick, but I just think with them losing, because it's apparently more than ever obvious, the rumors are just so heavy they lose NBA, or that they're just going to have to keep something.
Yes.
Unless the program director goes full-fledged other direction. It's 100%.
Or no sports at all. No sports at all. Just reruns. It becomes TBS, and they just do Andy Griffin.
Well, no. So the TBS, to me, here's the thing. People laugh all the time. I watch both channels regularly for every other reason, even other than the wrestling they have. TNT's a drama channel. TBS is a comedy channel. That's literally the way my brain thinks of those channels. It's not, well, AEW's on here. Like, I know it's on there, and that is where I watch it. But if you ask me the identity of those networks, it's drama and it's comedy. Just is. So anyway, back to the whole. Look, we're talking about a little bit of AEW. So let's kind of move it on to the next topic, because last week we kind of went back and forth on Mercedes Mone, and then it was funny. I heard somebody talking about this, and I'm like, what if we're all wrong?
Went right over my head. This giant head, this whole thing went right over it. I might have been fooled, Nick. Could you have been fooled too?
All of us could have been fooled.
I got worked. We didn't think about Willow Nightingale's a babyface.
Yeah.
Her buddy, Chris Statlander, is a babyface. Sasha is coming out her first target, Willow Nightingale. CEO.
Well, let me ask you this. This is taptapod@gmail.com. I'd love to. This is going to be a very interactive part of, I think, because everybody's going to have an opinion on this. We just talked about it with Rhea, right? When she returns, she's going to get a massive babyface reaction. So they are fully aware that Mercedes Mone, when she debuts, she's probably going to get this massive babyface reaction. Totally, that's what the fans said. But at her core, Mercedes Mone, if you go back to when she was at her strongest, in my opinion, and this is where I'm about to ask you the question, Myron, and by the way, listeners, taptoutpod@gmail.com, Sasha Banks, in my opinion, is her best and in her wheelhouse when she's a heel, a trash-talking heel.
She's a great trash talker. Probably her best thing. She's not Bailey. Okay. If you try to put her in there with Bailey, it doesn't go great. When she was a 4-horsewoman, the only two really good baby faces are Becky and Bailey out of that group. Charlotte's a heel. Sasha's a good heel. So Sasha sold a lot of merch as a baby face, but she's better as a heel character on the main roster. She's an NXT baby face, if that makes sense.
I think don't you think though? It's because a lot of it works both ways. It's also that she's like, I'm better than you, and that that kind of heel.
Oh, and the dancing and the fancy hair and all that money spent on the entrances and stuff.
People don't like CEOs of companies, so I was kind of like, this whole process, was it setting her up to be? And by the way, people are like, you last week specifically were just angry and frustrated, like, what has she done to deserve this? And what is she, she hasn't even wrestled. And we had that whole conversation, but it's like, dude, what if the whole point is to make you frustrated and is to make you mad and is to make you not like her?
People are like, you're a dick. You're a dick. You're one of those people. You're one of those people that maybe we're all one of those people. Maybe we're all supposed to be pissed off by now. Maybe we're not supposed to be idealists. Maybe they're actually doing this right. Okay. Right. Maybe they're building to this. Maybe they've got us. Maybe we're getting worked correctly.
Could be.
Maybe they've got me. Maybe I'm starting to get happy with something they're doing.
And here's the thing, because I was saying, me specifically last week, I still stand behind my statement, but me specifically saying, I think because here's, by the way, I can be right with what I'm saying, and then part 2 could be, I said last week, I felt she was too big of a star to be wrestling Willow Nightingale. She should have went straight for the main title. However, reverse that logic and say, or are we using that as a tool? That is a fact, but we're trying to drag Willow Nightingale up to, we're pulling her up and not, Mercedes Mone working down to Willow. By the way, that's no disrespect to Willow. We just, again, my comments where I do think I'm true is if you had them on their levels of where they are in worldwide popularity, etc., Willow's not where Mercedes is. You got to get her there. Maybe that's the whole point of the program, not the other way around of saying she's fighting down to her. So
somebody's doing a good job with this. Somebody's doing a good job. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm just happy about it. Now that we've looked at it this way, I'm happy.
Yeah, hopefully that's, but time will tell. Let us know. Do we think we have all been worked? tappedoutpod@gmail.com.
Well, something that's not working for me is this whole AEW NWO thing they got going on.
Well, that's the Elite versus Team AEW. And again, folks, we preface, we're recording Wednesday before we joked about this off air. It is the most frustrating thing when you record a wrestling podcast at this point once a week, you can't escape the fact that you're going to be recording, because we could record it and then release it immediately, but then it's like, well, then the Patreons don't get it early, etc. But there's not a day you can record and that you can't put the product out that you're not behind on a show of some kind. Because you got Raw, NXT, Dynamite, TNA, and Smackdown, all through the week. And then by the way, if you try to record on Saturdays or Sundays, well, then sometimes you're going to be missing PLEs. You're going to we're recording before. So it's just a mess. This is just where we stuck with, and this is what we got to live with.
Yeah.
So last week, I'm throwing air quotes up because I'm referencing to a week ago. They give us the team of Team AEW, FTR, Eddie Kingston, and Bryan Danielson. That's your team to lead battle against the Elite, which is Okada, Jack Perry, and the Bucks. All right. We're not going to, let's pause. I don't want to criticize.
Not Hogan, is he? Please tell me Jack Perry is not Hogan.
No. Okay, because that's where I want to pause. The NWO, look, you've got to let it go because it is not an NWO, in my opinion. It is not an NWO comparison. That is a way too far of a gap to even try to tie it to it. People like to go to the easiest thing they can give the analogy. That's not what this is, I don't think, because they're the elite in this angle. They're not trying to take away the company. They claim they want to make the AEW Tony Khan's company better. They want what's best for the company. Whether those visions, they're not actually trying to take it away, etc. Tomato, tomato. So I would like, the NWO comparison, I think it's got a fork stuck in it because I don't think that doesn't work. But right out of the gate, Eddie Kingston is injured in Japan at a New Japan show, where hopefully, and this is kind of where I got to throw into the flag, we're hoping we find out tonight/yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this, whether Eddie's going to be able to actually wrestle in the match at Double or Nothing and the Anarchy at the Arena show. TappedOutPod@gmail.com. I'm about to ask you a question so you can answer.
This is for the whole wrestling community.
Yeah.
Now go ahead and ask me the question.
The question was, it's the team, A is like Eddie's got to be, if Eddie has to be replaced, okay, who do we go with? But then 2, I was just wanting to go like, is this the best team you had? I mean, like.
Why, Nick? Why? When you've got a big storyline coming up for a big pay-per-view, when you've got all this working around, why do you say, oh, sure, go to Japan. Go do something else on your free time. Go jeopardize an entire pay-per-view, an entire massive storyline that we're going to revolve our company about. Yeah, go ahead. That's cool. Go to Japan. Yeah. That's stupid. That's stupid. Millions of dollars riding on this. And you're going to, oh yeah, go work a show in Japan.
I think he had to drop a title back, though. That was the problem.
Contracts.
And by the way, hold on. And by the way, you did use your angle there because they attacked him. The Bucks attacked Eddie there. That was part of the story. They were continuing part of that story in New Japan. So they did attack him post match. So that was part of it.
I remember the other day when Cody got hurt in Japan right before WrestleMania, and there was that problem with the main event. So they had to go back and change the plans for WrestleMania because Cody was hurt on a show in Tokyo. No, they don't do that because they're a professional company who worries about making money and booking things long term. You can't do that if you're going to make this. I know they've got great things and great relationships with New Japan and All Japan and all the Japans and all these other companies. And I saw a headline for an article, why Bryan Danielson doesn't book more indie shows. And I wouldn't even read the article because you know why he shouldn't work more indie shows, Nick? Because he don't need the money. And he could get hurt and not be able to work because he's always hurt. So now they're down a guy. So they got to recruit somebody else into the storyline, Nick.
I think it's not that hard. I think we both immediately pulled the trigger and was like,
they've got this idiot on the sidelines ready to go.
Well, he's doing some stuff. I mean, they've got him involved in stuff, but I think your go-to's got to be Moxley, right? Because when we talked about the team as a whole, I felt like either you had to go your best or you had to go with some of your originals. And I think everybody knows where Danielson stands in the pecking order of the company now, being, the committee, things he's involved with, the disciplinary committee, all that kind of stuff. So I think it was easy, though, even though he wasn't a day one guy, I understand why he's on there. Moxley was a very early, so I'm like, okay, I can see that.
He's in the Black Pot Combat Club with Danielson. He's one of his.
He's one of the BCC, yeah. And then there's you could, because Claudio I just don't think is a.
No.
I don't. By the way, I don't. Here's the thing: I'm not saying it because I'm not a fan of him. I'm saying I don't want to tangle him up in it.
Well, there's not enough. He doesn't have enough buzz. I'm sorry. Moxley's got the buzz. If you want to pop buzz, there's a lot of other people you could put in. If you just want to buzz this thing, you got other people you could put in. You can put in your baby. Go ahead.
No, rabbit hole, because I want to put it together here, because look, FTR is they're there because they have the thing with the Bucks going on. So the tag teams are kind of partnered off. I think the Okada thing would have, could have, should have been Kenny. Kenny was the answer, by the way, but the whole illness thing, that just tangled up the problem. So Danielson and Okada, all right, I'm in. I get you. It's two of the best wrestlers on the planet. I got you. I'm in. So that essentially means Jack Perry, right? He's the one that you're trying to pair off into something. And the problem is the guy who everybody wants to see him wrestle is in the other company now. He's not even there anymore. So who do you partner off with Jack Perry? Me personally, I'm changing my mind. The answer was easy with Mox. If it's me at this point and I'm deciding on the fly, and I just talked myself into this literally if you ever want to know how my brain works, I literally just talked myself into somebody else. And it was Chris Jericho. He was a day one guy. Look, without Chris Jericho, I don't know that there is much, does AEW reach even where they're at this point without Chris Jericho? I don't know. But it's the learning tree, and he's going to teach this young punk a lesson.
That's great. That's a good idea. I like that better than either one of my ideas.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So who did you have?
My idea was Swerve. The babyface champion Swerve. High position in the company. Does he need to be in this storyline as champion? No. Does he need to be in the storyline as far as getting him over? Yes. I don't think he's over yet enough, in my personal opinion. I think he's flat. I think he's a flat champion. Just based on the response they have as far as ratings. He did not help them. Okay. He did not pop. He did not give them a pop when he was made champion. The other, if I really wanted to get a pop, I would turn Ospreay babyface right now and just, because, him and Danielson had the greatest match of all time. Danielson should reach out to him so they could become the greatest team to save the company. Now, him and Jack Perry would be a massive waste of time, unless you just want to crush Jack Perry for being a little shit that screwed your company.
The Ospreay, because I said I was trying to reach in the Team AEW pantheon. Ospreay's just too new. I couldn't, I just couldn't take it. I was just
it's a great endorsement to make him Team AEW.
I think he's gonna I think he's.
He doesn't need it.
I just keep him away from it. Yeah, I just think you keep away from it now.
Jericho's probably a really good choice as far as to teach the young punk a lesson, because he's a punk. He can't fight an old man like CM Punk. I mean, he gets stripped down in the back and abused. So
yeah. But look, I know you're not a great fan of the story. It's you were telling look, you've got your issues with it, and hey, you're not wrong. You're not the only one that has. I could sit there and poke holes at it, but I will tell you one story that's come to from out of AEW this week that was very, very intriguing to me.
I've done research on this for how many months now have we been trying this? But we finally got somebody who's outside of the person just telling us, or her father just telling us. We got I finally got a good reference.
Well, we're gonna. You're slinging that good word around pretty loosely there, Myron. I mean,
it's the best one we've had so far, Nick.
Konnan comes out there in this past week, and it's basically saying that in conversation he has had with Kamille over the past few months, she was signed. Like, he had a conversation with her. I'm gonna make sure all my dates are correct.
He tried to book her to go to Mexico for an event.
In February. Yeah, I was just trying to make sure I had the dates correct. Yeah. In February, she said she was under contract. She had been signed.
So she couldn't go to Mexico.
She couldn't go. Which, by the way, here's why I'm a little gray and fuzzy, and I would love to know from the source that straight from from the source, because what doesn't two things over the last few weeks have changed my thing on this. On one, Tony Khan lets talents go to Mexico to wrestle. Jeff Jarrett's about to do. He did a Triple Mania not too long ago, and he's about to go down and do another one. So that's odd. However, here's the thing. Also experienced the fact that we knew that somebody couldn't do a spot at an indie show because, he wouldn't let them.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like a match spot. It's like a walk out from behind the curtain spot.
Look, details just kind of I'm trying to protect all parties involved.
That was like a last minute thing.
Yeah, so
it wasn't like we knew in advance. It was like Tony Khan got on the phone and stopped it.
So so that's where that one. Look, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying Konnan's wrong. He's probably he could be 100%. This could all be factual. I was just kind of that made me kind of go. On one hand, I was like, well, he lets people wrestle in Mexico, but on the other hand, he wouldn't let So and with the reasoning would make sense of, hey, we don't want her down there because the second she's down there, she's back working again. Yeah. Well, March and April, he's like, hey, talk to her again. Hey, and it's like, hey, look, I am indeed signed, but I don't know anything. I have no plan. This is the part that concerned me a little bit. So, if she signed in February and in March and in April, you still hadn't touched base with her and given her details of what she was going to be doing, why did you sign her?
She seems to be healthy. She seems to be happy from everything she's posted. Yeah. We know her father personally. Whenever we see him, we talk to him. We know her personally. But I don't cross the line professionally and bother people that I know and consider. I consider her father to be a friend. I'm not going to call him and ask him a personal question about his daughter signing because it's not, I don't think that. I think that's just an abuse of power. But I'd like to know. I would really like to know. We've followed her since, remember see that picture of her next to Kevin Sullivan on my wall? I never know which hand to push. Right there. In the red with the football pads. Remember when she wrestled in that? When she played that women's football league, Nick. Yeah. When she was wrestling at AWE, which is now Southern States Pro, she played in a women's football league here in Atlanta. Okay, she wrestled for NWA. I've got another autograph picture of her upstairs. I've got to bring down and put on my wall.
Oh, by the way, can I pause? You brought up NWA. Yeah. When people are pushing a little bit and they're trying to why did they sign her? Why did they sign her? About her talent, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Because she put on the greatest women's run, for NWA championship. That's I don't know that anybody's going to touch it.
No. She walks out. She's stately. Okay. She carries the belt like a champion.
Yeah.
She walks like a champion. She acts like a champion.
Yeah.
She wrestles like a champion. She would make Tony Storm look like a Walmart shopper. That's my opinion.
It's easy to work with. Figure it out. There's some very smart people and creative. They just need to figure it out and get her going. And I understand trying to be slow and making sure you got the right thing, but it shouldn't take. Yeah. It wouldn't take me 3 months to figure out what to do with Kamille on my wrestling promotion. That's all I'm going to say.
And speaking of NWA, it looks like Billy's got a new TV deal, or he says he's got a new TV deal.
Yeah,
and Adventures in Carneyland is on the new CW app. It's now streaming. I'm probably going to watch that when I'm done with this. Of course, now that I've got all this dental work going on, I look like I could be on a carny, on a show about carnies and circuses. Fans, I'll have these teeth put back together in a period of several weeks now.
Myron's going to be in such a state of affairs the next week where there might not be video on our YouTube channel. It may be straight.
Yes, it'll be straight to audio.
Yeah, but look, YouTube.com @TappedOutPod's the handle there. But make sure you're liking, subscribing, turning your notifications on so you don't miss anything. Become a member there just like you can on our Patreon page, patreon.com/TappedOutPod. Sign up and get the show early, get the extras. Because look, over on Patreon and YouTube, it's the only thing where you get every single bit of content we drop.
Ever.
That's the only home, because look, we get it. I have a lot of people tell me, hey, I listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you're subscribing to the podcast, look, we love you. We appreciate all of that. Give us a 5-star rating and review if you like the show. But look, it's just the main 2 shows, the national show and the indie show, that are on the podcast feeds and on the YouTube channel. They get everything. So make sure, even if you are a podcast listener, become a member on one of those 2 platforms. So that way you get everything.
Sit it down. Put it on YouTube, sit it down and listen to it. And in the future, I might be getting mustache extensions. What do you think about that? Just cover up my whole mouth.
Get you the Ted Lasso mustache or something like that.
Yeah, get a weave. Get a mustache weave.
But who knows, man. But look, that's everything I've got this week, Myron. You got anything else?
I'm happy. I'm going off on a nice romantic weekend for a couple of days, coming back. Going to try to make the Southern States show. Scrappy show is going to be, is that the official name for it?
Scrappy Championship Wrestling.
Scrappy Championship Wrestling on Sunday night. I wish I could, or Sunday during the day. You've talked about a bunch of shows on Saturday. Wrestling all over Georgia. Wrestling's great. There's wrestling everywhere right now, all over the state of Georgia, all over the Southeast, but it's tax return season. So
there's promotions. There's promotions popping up everywhere. Make sure you're checking out the indie show. If you are an indie show fan here in Georgia, make sure you're checking out the indie show. Drops on Tuesday. We drop this one on Thursday to give you a day or two to get them all both in.
Y'all got to get busy. Y'all would have to be busy to keep up with all that. And then Heath's going to a Broadway show, isn't he?
Yeah, it's the thing down at Center Stage, the last match. And by the way, he did message me this morning. There's going to be an official review with somebody who's actually qualified to review it as well. It's a whole other complicated. We talked about it a little bit on the indie show this week, but so yeah, definitely that's another reason why you want to, because that will be Patreon/YouTube only.
I'm gonna have to listen to that.
So yeah, it should be fun, man. But look, lots of fun. Let's go out and see it. Check out the show if you can, and have a great time, man. So.
Awesome.
Anything else, buddy?
I'm all good.
Well, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing, you've got nothing. What time is it?
It's time to tap out.